The first type of activity or lesson that I designed in Second Life that I mentioned was free language production, activities for free language production. And a couple of examples about for this are activity where the students teleport to the shelter at Isabel and go dancing and chat, or maybe go to the dinner area and chat with strangers, and afterward report back to the class about their experience. This is a little less structured because they just go in and they find someone to chat with, and it addresses outcomes where the students are practicing the grammar that we're learning. For example, in a low-level class, they might be practicing forming information questions. How are you? Where do you, you know, how long have you been in Second Life, and so on, or yes, no questions, or statements, or even using verb tenses. What are you doing right now, for example? Um, Another activity, more free activity that I've had students do is just to use Cam Studio to make a 2-minute movie in World, or even 1 minute. Um, do anything and then show it to the class, and extemporaneously, or they could prepare to describe what's happening in the movie while they're showing it to the class. And this is a great activity for choreographing their uh, their language to something that's really happening. It's a little more complex than just reciting something, and it uses it force it gets them to use a higher level of thinking, I think, as they're using the English than just memorizing. Let's see. A second, here's an example of here's a picture from last Halloween. My level 1 class was dancing at the shelter, and you can see Tinkerbell in the middle of the picture. There was my student. She changed her avatar into Tinkerbell. The shelter is a wonderful place to go if you don't know it. And this is um, her writing afterwards. I went to a Halloween party and I danced with other people. It was interesting for me. Then we decorated our room. I bought something in my room. For example, I bought sofa lights and dancing floor, and so on and so on. You can see this, she's got a couple different things going on here about what she did in Second Life. But the part I like the best is at the end. Second Life taught me everything. I can do everything in my second life. I studied to fly, dancing, and change my clothes. Um, this was a level 1 student, and the assignment was to use past tense to tell a story about what you did in Second Life. Um, Her writing actually gets us to the second example that I was going to talk about, controlled language production. Um, um, Let me go on here. Actually, it takes us more to the third example. I'll get on with that in a second. Um, I mentioned I use it for controlled language production, and this is um, an activity that I do as an example. I have students write a role play and then act it out in World while filming it. And the the assignment specifically is to write and act a story or role play in which they use a specific target grammar for the situation. And a lot of preparation actually goes into writing the role play and the story and drafts, so it's accurate. And because the outcomes are to use target English grammar and or vocabulary correctly, and to talk about a situation and to tell a coherent story, and they're also at the same time doing things, manipulating an avatar, acting the content of the story, and all of this is much more challenging than just standing in front of the class. And it offers a lot richer environment for a presentation or role play, because the classroom itself is so limited with props and room and costumes and so on. And um, Second Life is a much richer environment and offers a lot more possibility. In the next segment, I will show an example of what my advanced students did, and then talk a little bit about how that worked. I think it was much more successful than with the beginning students, and there's some reasons that I'll explain.